beautiful Ayu. Her real name is Nikomang Ayu Anantha Putri, but fondly called Ayu, is a Balinese woman who has made dance her way of life, a space for empowerment of women, and a path of spiritual connection. I mean, you are educated in the Institute of Arts in Denpasar, and you love tradition. You love the dance traditions that combine human beings with nature,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And I love that so much because the dance can tell you a sustainable story because the human connection with nature. So let's go straight to that, okay? So dance is a powerful mode of storytelling,
Yeah.
right? And you know that more than anyone else. And not to talk about the preservation of culture. In the Balinese dance that you do, how important is storytelling? And how do the stories do they come from mythologies? How deep do you dive in to get the stories that you perform?
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayu. Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. Okay, I start my dance when I'm 4 years old. So kids, little Ayu dancing, and my parents is very support me. And yeah, the roots is Bali is a Balinese dance traditional, especially. And I start 4 years when my mom like turn on the music of Balinese. I always like dancing, but nobody's watch because if anybody watch, maybe I would like to stop my dance. That's the first support I have from my mama and dad. Yeah, and after 2011, I get Bachelor of Art in Indonesian Institute of the Art, and I learned a lot of things about this cultures and also tradition. And I grow in the small village in Negara, is a Malaya. Have a little village name is Warnasari. Have it strong cultures also, and we always dancing also at the temple, and we are connecting with people with tradition. Also, we meet everything's in the temple. And when I have Rainan, this is like a Balinese traditional ceremony. Every 6 months, I always celebrate temple per temple in my village, and always like connection with the traditions. I just imagines when I growing as a Balinese, when my mom's pregnancy, my mom is also celebrate the 7 months pregnancy with magadong-gadongan. Nature's also always talk with me, I think, from water, from the eaters, from the praying, from the leaves when
Well,
like
we were just talking about that. You said
yeah,
when you're doing the dance,
yeah,
you have to say it because the dance of your body
yeah,
is mimicking nature.
yeah.
So I want you to talk about
Yeah,
that.
because when I'm dance, I imagines my body. It's not body anymore. I imagines my body is like the big tree. It's like Balinese sacred tree in the good place in Bali. Is like very majesty. My feet, I imagine as my roots is very strong to keep my trunk. This is a trunk to keep it beautiful. And after my hands, expression, face, everything is the flowers. Is the flowers, is the leaf. When the leaf have a rain, when the leaf have a wind, is always like trembling. Maybe you can try. Yeah, we have names jariring in Balinese. We always doing this when we dance, and we always doing ukal like this. Yeah, and every single pola in our dancing, I think, inspiration from natures. That's why my mom is always also say, please keep a nature good because nature is your mom. The real mom is nature's. Because when you have ceremony, 3 month ceremony, you the first time you touch the ground, and I like what the crossing with the amazing a coin Balinese like what is like sweet. Yeah, I sweet you with offerings. I sweet you with the money of the coin of the Balinese, and also praying. And now you step the motherland for the first time with ceremony, and now you already have connection. My mom say always like that.
So I'm very curious to know, like, because you teach dance, eh?
Yeah.
So when you're teaching dance to children, thank you. Sir. So when you're teaching dancing to children, and you are talking about the philosophy of the dance, which is so rooted to nature,
Yeah.
do you see the shift because you're dancing because you're thinking about the roots and the leaves and Mother Nature, your Pachamama? So, do you think it makes a difference to the children's way of life in how they will respect the environment in the future?
Yeah. I think it's like give a children or the next generation is like more stronger than the roots, more stronger with the tradition. If you already stronger, if you already good, you can keep your own like like own identity, your own self. You can more stronger, you're more confident because you trust every single um, some in the world. It's with you. It's like that. Yeah, the either the water, yeah, everything is
I
like
mean, this is
support you.
So this is what I love. You are so brilliant. Please go and see her videos online. She is magnificent in the way she communicates without words, and it is about nature. It's spiritual. It's the interconnectedness. So thank you so much
Thank
for
you
this.
so much for opportunities for sharing.
And now we move to Fuad,
Hello.
whom I love, who I just recently met and be connected on such a beautiful level,
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And you have to know about Fuad because he's got a twin brother. They look exactly the same. They started a wonderful brand together called Due Hatue, which in Dayak language means two boys because they're twins. And they were legendary cult tattoo artists in Denpasar. They're from Borneo. They were born in Borneo and cult following. And they did that for many years. And then they decided enough because they wanted to pursue other creative endeavors, which now goes into jewelry, clothes, architecture, furniture. And it's deep in their research. And, he used the word, he said, we are all about future ancient, which I thought was fascinating because, anyway, I'm not going to say much, but you tell us, what do you mean by future ancient?
Okay, so hello everybody. Hopefully you guys okay. Oh, so future I will call is like ancient futuristic Indonesian tribalism. It's like I bring the elements from Borneo that I learned from Tatu. It's like the Dayak from Dayak Iban. And then what is the ancient future? Future is nature. Uh, yeah, ancient is the ideology. It's like back then, like we don't need money back then. We just like we use our gift to like a barter. Like you can do this, I can do this. We get barter, we help each other. That's it. That's the ideology of ancient that I feel. And future, it's like nature. So we build like together into the nature back on ourselves. It's like that.
And we did meet for coffee just to understand each other. And, he and his brother, I'm sure, both very deep in their research. You're taking symbolism from ancient Indonesian cultures, and they deep dive and the intricacy with which they will make even a finger ring or a bracelet. It's packed with symbolism.
Yeah.
And so I asked, is like, what's that world that the imagination that you have? And he said that you said this. So now you have to talk. You said that the world is so distorted that we have to imagine a different world
Yeah.
to be able to thrive.
Exactly. So it's in my mind. It's like now we are in the like dark age. It's like people hating, like people jealously. It's like why? Actually, we just being ourselves, but those things like we have to support each other to like build, become like better world. Because now it's like we gonna start the war. It's like you know, like crazy. People like use their motorbike on the trottoir with load bike. Who love that? Nobody love it. That's like we need to change our mind. It's like going to the golden age that I call. And then like I start this like Due Hatue. It's not a brand. It's a transmitter. It's like from the God transmit into me. Then I like use my gift that like I like mastering into the form. That's the I call feeling of the ancient futuristic Indonesian tribalism.
You know, you just gave all of us goosebumps because if you don't believe in that world may exist in our imagination, we've got three wars going on right now. How do we survive without this level of imagination? So for that, I thank you very, very much, Fuad.
Yeah,
You're
my
amazing.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
Thank you, thank you.
And now we come to my dear friend, Deepika. Deepika Mehta has a very incredible journey with yoga. I'm not going to talk too much about it. She's been a yoga teacher. She's been teaching for 25 years. Um, Her journey began in the most unexpected way. And her story is what I call, I don't know if you know about, do you know about Joseph Campbell? He's one of my heroes. He's a mythologist. He's not alive anymore. But he studied every story in every culture in every part of Mother Earth and said whether it was whether it was Lord of the Rings or it's you name any of it, Star Trek, Star Wars, to classics or whatever, there is a hero's journey. There is always a common story. The hero's journey is basically you're living in a state of homeostasis, which everything is hunky dory and you're fine, and suddenly there's a challenge that comes your way. The challenge could be really catastrophic. You've lost a loved one, or you broke your leg, or it could be a realization. And that shifts and takes you into what's called the hero's journey, which makes you change your old patterns and transform into something else, something more purposeful. And then you return to your community with a bigger story that is not just about yourself, but about others. So that hero's journey is common in almost every story and mythology that we hear through generations. So I'm going to ask Deepika to tell us her hero's journey after I tell you this, because I have to read this out. She is a dedicated student of Ashtanga tradition for over 2 decades. That is a form of yoga, studying under the legendary Sri K. Pattabhi Jois and his grandson, who are exemplary. And she is authorized teacher from their institute and remains rooted in the authenticity and depth. Okay, so, thank you, sweetheart. So, do you want to hear about that hero's journey where everything was normal and something came crashing down, and then you had to reinvent yourself and become this extraordinary yoga teacher?
Hi, Vandana. Hi, everybody. I'm a little nervous because it's a pretty cool looking crowd, and I normally never step out. I'm always in my house. I have my little bubbles, so I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'm going to share my authentic story. So I was 21 and I was into, dance, rock climbing, all of the usual stuff, but living a very normal life, just wanting to party, have boyfriends, all of that normal stuff. And then I had an accident. I fell from 40 feet. I broke, while rock climbing, I broke the entire left side of my body. And I was told I'm never going to walk. or I might not walk at least for a very, very long time. And this was 25 years back, so there was not much, and this is in India, there was not much physiotherapy and a lot of the stuff that is available now. So pretty much 2 years I was on a wheelchair, and 6 months I was like on a bedridden. And I always had this dream. I actually, in a very subconscious way, my dream was to be a dancer, actually, like her. Like Ayuna, I was really relating to a lot of the stuff she was saying. And so, when you're 21 and then there's no hope, I really went into a very dark space, very, very depressed. And, again, I was relating to you as well, because sometimes we think darkness is bad, but actually darkness is what can push us to the light. Because if you don't go through darkness, you're going to just stay where you are for the rest of your life. So when you go through a very, very, very dark time, and actually I've had recurring phases of that, when you go through a very hard time in your life, actually, it's the impetus that you need to push you to the next level, if you see it like that. So, I feel like sometimes don't resist darkness, because maybe it's the universe churning you up for the next thing. So that was me, 2 years, no, not being able to walk, pretty much on a bed, having all my hopes, dreams, everything shattered, and very, very lonely and kind of depressed and isolated. And then I found this book called Autobiography of a Yogi, and it was written by Paramahansa Yogananda. And I read this book, and it talked about miracles, and it talked about the power of the mind and how the mind over matter. And at that time, there was no internet, there was nothing else, there was no reels, there was no motivational talks, no TED Talks, nothing. So you had to be your own motivator. And so I read this book, and I was like, that thought really struck a chord in me. I was like, and also I guess I was a bit of a rebel. So when somebody had told me, you can't do this, like you're not going to walk, it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be a mover. And so I read this book, and it just sparked something in me. And then for the next, I don't know, maybe 2 years, I just went on a quest of healing myself. And now, through first the mind, through what I do believe is the essence of yoga, which is that the mind, how you perceive everything is what your reality can become. And so that deep stuff that he talked about in the book, it was, right now it sounds like a story, but that was my life. I just stayed in that. I stayed in that bubble. And I was like, I am determined to get okay. And cut to 2 years after, I remember there's a pilgrimage in India. It's Tirupati, and I was with my family. I was still walking with a crutch. And I remember I walked up in 45 minutes. And even today, if I go, I wouldn't, it would take me at least 2.5, 3 hours to walk. So it was like something I can't, and again, I also relate to what Jane Hawkins was talking about, the spirit, because I felt like the spirit possessed me. For the next few years, I was possessed. I had so many mystical experiences. Again, in retrospect, they sound so crazy, and sometimes I myself don't believe them, but I had these crazy mystical experiences that just reinforced that I was on the right path. And then eventually I found my teacher, and,
So do you think? So you're saying, the power of the mind is, the mind is so powerful that we can program it to work for us or
Yeah.
against us.
Yeah.
Right? And so, to that point, you're a yoga teacher, and we're in Bali, and yoga is so sexualized. Sorry for saying this. Yoga is so much about fitness of the body. It's a sport now. When if you read the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the first line is what, Deepika?
Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, it's the stopping of the fluctuations of the mind.
It's
So
the stillness of the mind. That's the main purpose. So do you see that being a little problematic today?
I do see that the asana practice, the physical practice can become the one that most people perceive of as yoga. But then again, like I was relating very much to what Ayuna was saying, and that's how I feel when I'm doing my yoga practice. It's like the microcosm of the macrocosm. And when you're moving, you're very in a state of flow. So of course people come in And I think the hook is okay. The hook is, because people look at pictures on Instagram, they're like, I want to be able to do that yoga asana, I want to do handstand, I want to do back bend. Maybe I'll get more followers if I'm doing a good yoga pose. And that's fine. I feel like that's the game to get people into the hook. But if they practice the right method, with the right teacher, the method will take them to stillness. That's why the Ashtanga method, that's 8 limbs of yoga, it's Yama, Niyama, Asana. So Asana is the third limb, which is the body. Then it's Pratyahar, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, breathing, Pratyahar, Dhyan, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So those parts of getting so embodied, where you're moving in a complete connection to your body, will eventually lead you to stillness. So I have seen people who come to my classes, and they were probably amazing dancers, ballerinas, or, a bit burnt out. Lots of different kinds of people come. But the way that the method of the style that I teach Ashtanga, it's like there's a state of flow, but I've always noticed no matter what they come with, eventually I start seeing, maybe in a week or 2 weeks or a while, I start seeing that they go into that deep stillness at the end of the practice. So no matter what the hook is, I do feel something changes. There is a certain transformation that happens.
I have to say, like, just watching you talk, it's you went through pain and you came out strong. You healed yourself, and now somehow you're healing others, right? I mean, in a non invasive
Yeah.
way. Do you see your practice becoming more of that?
I think what I got from that experience was the gift of empathy, because I don't believe that I'm healing anybody. I believe that everybody has the power to, what I believe is everybody has the power to heal themselves. So what I am doing is creating a space for people to connect to themselves. And when they can connect to themselves in a deep feeling way, not just in a kind of identification, this is my name, this is who I am, whatever, spirit. When they can connect with the spirit, then they are being able to heal themselves. So what I feel like I have the gift is deep empathy, because I have been through pain. I still am going through a lot of challenges in my life. And pain is, it's the biggest medicine. And it's that portal that can take you to the next space. So I can see pain, I can empathize with it, and I can give them the technique, which is the yoga method, the asana method. And I feel the healing comes from themselves.
I couldn't have put a better panel with 3 people who are on the same wavelength of healing through creativity, through dance, through yoga.
Imagination
Thank
to
you.
form.
Imagination to form. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana.
Thank you.